Hi students, I am Dr. Bhavana. In this lecture, we are going to continue with the topic called as human health and diseases. So in the human health and diseases, in the last class, what we have done? We have done regarding the what are the immune responses of the body as well as autoimmunity. So in the autoimmunity, basically, it is nothing but rheumatoid arthritis as well as what are the examples which are related to that of autoimmunity. Means rheumatoid arthritis as well as myasthenia gravis. These are the two main common examples of autoimmune diseases. They'll give you in NEET what are the autoimmune diseases. Give examples like that. They'll give you and they'll give you numerous options. Rheumatoid arthritis, myasthenia gravis are the two main important. There are rest also I'll specify in the other chapter. But for now, you remember the two myasthenia gravis as well as rheumatoid arthritis. Autoimmunity means what? By the name only, you can understand that autoimmunity means it will attack the self antigens. The self cells only it will attack. Whatever the abnormal cells which enter our body, they will not attack them. They will attack our own self cells. Why they will attack? They will think that these are also foreign particles. So they will attack the self cells. Then our immune system will be very low in that cases. So we only should fight against our own immune system. That's why we take usually immunosuppressants which will suppress the immune system, as well as why this will occur is due to some genetic disorders. Whatever the genetic disorders that are present, it may occur due to the genetic disorders or due to unknown reasons. Still, we don't know why this all is happening, why the autoimmunity is taking place. Still, experiments are going on related to this. So, this is about the autoimmunity. Only two important points that you should remember. That is nothing but it will attack the self cells and it will occur due to genetic disorders. The third point you should remember is rheumatoid arthritis, myasthenia gravis are the most common important autoimmune diseases. As well as this will occur due to basically memory based acquired immunity is present in all of us, but also due to attacking the self cells, it will attack the autoimmune system. So this is about the autoimmunity. Then later we have seen what are the organs which are responsible for that of these causing the immune responses of the body. They are nothing but primary lymphoid organs as well as secondary lymphoid organs. When it comes to primary lymphoid organs, it is nothing but bone marrow as well as spleen. Primary organs are bone marrow and spleen. When it comes to secondary lymphoid organs, they are nothing but lymph nodes, spleen, as well as Peyer's patches of small intestine. Peyer's patches of small intestine. So simple role of them, don't get so much confused regarding this. Primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow, spleen. Means origin and maturation of lymphocytes will take place here. Lymphocytes, only why lymphocytes I am specifying, because lymphocytes only produce antibodies. Rest of the cells don't produce antibodies. Only these will produce antibodies. That's why I am specifying about only lymphocytes. So that's why they are called as primary lymphoid organs as well as secondary lymphoid organs. So basically in the primary lymphoid organs, origin and maturation of lymphocytes will take place. Means the origin of lymphocytes will take place. When it comes to secondary lymphoid organs, from the primary lymphoid organs, when origin and maturation of lymphocytes takes place, they are transferred into the secondary lymphoid organs. When they are transferred into the secondary lymphoid organs, what will happen there? In the secondary lymphoid organs, these lymphocytes will attack with the antigen in the secondary lymphoid organs. So, origin is here, attacking or else fighting against the diseases will take place in the secondary. I want you all to make a clear differentiation between the primary as well as secondary lymphoid organs. So in the primary lymphoid organs, it is nothing but bone marrow as well as thymus. So bone marrow as well as thymus. Bone marrow means where it is present, you all know. It is present in the bone. It is a hollow cavity which is present in the bone. And what is the use of this spleen? Spleen is also called as graveyard of RBC. So all the RBCs will be destroyed in the spleen basically. So bone marrow as well as thymus are the primary lymphoid organs. When it comes to spleen, this is a secondary lymphoid organ. Here primary are bone marrow as well as thymus. Spleen is secondary lymphoid organ. But why I have specified here about spleen is, I want you all to clearly differentiate where are RBCs produced and where are they destroyed. So they are produced in bone marrow but they are destroyed in the spleen. So about RBC, I want you all to be very clear. Then thymus. Thymus, where it is located, it is usually located in the heart between the breastbones, between the ribs it is present. So it is usually large at the time of birth and usually becomes small during puberty. So functions of both bone marrow as well as thymus is nothing but lymphocytes are produced. When it comes to secondary lymphoid organs, it is nothing but spleen, I told you already. Spleen as well as lymph nodes, these both, as well as Peyer's patches of small intestine, everything will trap the microorganisms. Lymph nodes in full body, wherever the lymph is flowing and all, it will trap the microorganisms. Spleen, basically whatever the microorganisms which are present in the blood, it will trap them. When it comes to Peyer's patches of small intestine, in the small intestine, whatever the food we eat, whatever the particles, microorganisms which are entering our body, everything are trapped in the Peyer's patches of small intestine. So I want you to clearly differentiate between the lymph node, spleen, Peyer's patches of the small intestine. So these are the differences, and the main difference we already have read: bone marrow, thymus, lymphocytes are produced. Here they will act basically. And another important point which you should remember is about the lymph nodes. So the lymph nodes, usually the lymphoid tissue is present. Lymphoid tissue. This lymphoid tissue is present usually in the lining of respiratory tract, digestive tract as well as urinogenital tract. Respiratory, urinogenital as well as digestive tract. Respiratory, urinogenital as well as digestive tract. In these three things, basically this lymphoid tissue will play a very important role. In respiratory, urinogenital, digestive, this lymphoid tissue is present as a lining. This constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue which is present in the full body. About 50% is contributed only by these three. So that's why the name is given as malt. Mucosa associated lymphoid tissue is malt. Mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. Mucosa associated lymphoid tissue is called as malt. Why I am specifying about malt? It is nothing but the lymphoid tissue is present along the mucosal lining. See, the lymphoid tissue is usually present in our body, we all know that. But lymphoid tissue is present along the mucosal lining. Mucosa will line the digestive, respiratory. I have specified in the last class. Mucosa lining will line the respiratory and these three tracts it will line. Along with that, lymphoid tissue also is present there. And this lymphoid tissue, why it is present? To trap the microorganisms which will enter. Alone that mucosa can't do any work. So it is associated with that of lymphoid tissue to bring better changes, that is to trap more foreign particles which will enter our body and to prevent the diseases. So this is also acting as a good immune response for our body. So basically, what is this called as? MALT. So mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. And these three only, that is respiratory, digestive, urinogenital tract only, constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue which is present in our body. The rest 50% in the neck and all, numerous axillary lymph nodes and all are present. But especially here 50% is contributed. So MALT is an important NEET question which is asked, and what are the ones which do this, that respiratory, urinogenital, which will contribute is important point and NEET point of view. So this is about the immune system. So what are the basic diseases which are associated with that of immune system? There are two types of diseases basically. And which are the most common? That are nothing but AIDS as well as cancer. So AIDS. These both are caused mainly due to deficiency of immune system. So we are going to see about AIDS. AIDS, what is the abbreviation for the AIDS? It is nothing but acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is not is coming normally. It is coming through acquired. That is acquired immunodeficiency. Immune system is deficient in this. So acquired immunodeficiency syndrome it is. And it is caused by a virus that is called as HIV. That is human immunodeficiency virus, because it will attack the humans, basically this virus. So it is called as human immunodeficiency virus. These abbreviations are important. If anyone don't know, just write this: human immunodeficiency virus. And this human immunodeficiency virus, that is HIV, will belong to a group of viruses that is called as retrovirus. Retrovirus. It is belonging to a group like rhinoviruses. Don't get confused between rhinoviruses as well as retroviruses. Rhinoviruses means which will cause common cold and all for us. Simply we are suffering from 3 to 7 days. We are suffering from common cold means it is due to virus. That is nothing but rhino group of viruses called as rhinoviruses. Like that for AIDS also there is HIV virus, but it is coming under a group of viruses that is nothing but retrovirus. So I want you to be very clear in this aspect. First AIDS was discovered in year 1981. In the year 1981, this in one human it was identified as AIDS, as well as it is highly fatal disease. There is no cure for this disease. So prevention is better for this disease than cure, because there is no cure. Person will compulsory die due to this disease, because this virus will be changing from one place to another. It will be changing its form. So there is no vaccine or no, you can say like there is no vaccine for this virus or no proper drugs for this. Only just we can prolong the lifespan of the person, but we can't prevent from dying. From the person will die as usual. So that's why this is a very dangerous virus. I want you to be very clear. AIDS is caused by acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It's nothing but caused by HIV, and this belongs to a group of virus called as retrovirus, as well as It was first discovered in 1981. So basically in this, what are the how it is spread? Basically AIDS. Modes of transmission of AIDS. Modes of transmission. How it is transmitted from one person to another? It is by sharing infected needles. By sharing the infected needles. Suppose if in numerous hospitals, if they are not using the disposable syringes or needles, then it may spread from one person to another. Then during blood transfusions, it may spread from one person to another by blood transfusion. If someone is suffering from that he need a blood, but the person who is giving the blood is suffering from HIV, then that blood should not be taken for this person, or else in the blood it is very alive, this virus, so it is transmitted from one person to another. So blood transfusions, as well as sharing the infected needles, as well as sexual contact from one person to another, also it spreads through sexual contact, as well as it also spreads through basically from mother to child. Maximum it is transmitted through sexual contact, then later blood transfusion from mother to child. Very rarely it is by sharing the infected needles. Mostly you will use disposable needles and syringes only. So it is not spreading basically from one person to another. And this HIV is very fatal disease that you should remember. So modes of transmission are sharing infected needles, and in numerous drug abusers also it usually spreads. Drug abusers, that is who takes drugs continuously, who takes the drugs intravenously, for them also it is very highly risky. So sharing infected needles, blood transfusion, sexual contact, mother to child, as well as drug abuses. These are the most common methods of transmission of HIV. Then later, of the disease to the transmission of disease, it may be usually few months to years. That is from appearance of infection, to appearance of symptoms. It usually takes numerous few months to years. Mostly it will take 5 to 10 years. So this period is also called as incubation period. So this period is also called as incubation period. That is, the person will be identified with the infection. Then later symptoms will be produced. But when symptoms will be produced? Only after 5 to 10 years. If you are affected with the HIV also, you will not know until if you go to the diagnostic center and get it tested with HIV, you will not know, because infection will occur later to replicate and all. It will take 5 to 10 years. You will not know only. Very minute, some fever and all you will get sometimes, but you will not know. After 5 to 10 years, when the symptoms starts appearing only, you will be able to identify, and you will see that you are at the highest stage of the disease, and there will be no cure for this disease also. So basically this period where there is from the infection to the appearance of the symptoms, it usually is called as incubation period, and it will take 5 to 10 years. And mostly I told you the modes of transmission are nothing but I told you through infected needles and from mother to baby, and all I told you numerous modes of transmission. It all are spreading only by they are spreading only through body fluids. They are not spreading by just physical contact and all. They are not spreading. only through body fluids like numerous salivas and all, or blood, or through sexual contact, or through from mother to baby, all are sharing the infected needles, all are through body fluids only. They are not spreading by just contacting the person physically. So that's why they should not be, those patients who are suffering from AIDS and all, they should not be isolated from the society, because from the physical contact they are not suffering, right? So there is no method of transmission of disease through physical contact. They should not be highly, you can see, you should not place them aside. They should have some moral values and all to protect the person, and the moral support is very much necessary for these type of patients. So basically, what are the symptoms which the patient will suffer later? See, the immune system will become very weak, and the patients will suffer from tuberculosis, high fever, numerous infections. How many infections you need? Bacterial, viral, fungal diseases, everything will come, because our immune system only is very low. That's why if immune system is very low, we are most susceptible to diseases. So basically, tuberculosis, fever, then later numerous diseases, bacterial, viral, fungal, everything diseases will occur, as well as diarrhea, loss of appetite, and the person will become very weak, and the person will become very thin. He can't eat properly, he can't walk properly. There are numerous symptoms, and finally it leads to death of the patient. So these are the different symptoms which are associated with that of HIV. Symptoms, if you say, first you should start with incubation period. It is 5 to 10 years, and from the infection to the appearance of the symptoms, this should take place. Then it usually spreads through body fluids, not by mere physical contact. Then what are the symptoms which are associated with tuberculosis, fever and all? They will suffer, and finally the death only. Whatever the diseases which are present, everything will be acquired by this patient, and these all are acquired from others, sharing infected needles or blood transfusions and all. If they are acquiring from other persons, that's why the name is given for AIDS as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It's acquired, and it is making our immune system very low. So these are the symptoms which are associated. Then later, what are the tests you perform to detect AIDS? It is nothing but ELISA, as well as Western blot test. Western blot test. These are the two tests which you perform to detect AIDS. ELISA to detect the HIV virus which is present. ELISA means enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So this is ELISA. When it comes to Western blot test also, these are the two tests which help in detecting the AIDS. For these tests in detail, you don't need to go, just remember the names of the tests which are essential for that of AIDS. Later in MBBS and all, you can learn clearly what how these tests are present and how they will act and all, you can later, but now you remember the names of the test, ELISA as well as Western blot test. Next, what is the prevention? How do you prevent? No prevention for AIDS. It is only no cure. Prevention should be taken. Cure is not there, only prevention. Prevention means the blood transfusions should be done very carefully. Everything they are done by the NACO organizations. They are nothing but National AIDS Control Organizations. National AIDS Control Organizations are performing numerous things to prevent AIDS, like how they are they are not allowing to share the infected needles, and from mother to baby also, before only they are helping to detect, and they are preventing the fetus from the AIDS, as well as the other numerous blood transfusions also, only the pure blood they are taking from non-infected patients, and then only they are transferring in blood banks. They are putting a good checkups on blood banks and all, and also numerous things they are doing to prevent. What is the organization that is associated in India is nothing but NACO, National AIDS. Because numerous millions of people over the last 25 years have died due to this AIDS. So that's why prevention is better than cure, and there is no cure also. To prolong the patient's lifespan, antiretroviral drugs are given to prolong the life of the patient, but ultimately the patient will die due to our immune system will get low, and infections are also they're susceptible, right? So that's why the patient will die ultimately, but to prolong the lifespan, antiretroviral drugs are given. So these are the main things, symptoms as well as modes of transmission as well as tests and the preventions for that of AIDS. The main thing which we are left over in AIDS is nothing but how it is getting into the person. So basically it is usually transmitted first, how it is replicating. The viral RNA will enter the body. Viral RNA will enter the body of the person. So when it will attack the macrophages as well as lymphocytes are the main cells which attack the foreign particles. So first viral RNA will enter the body through different modes of transmission, and then it will enter first into the macrophages. It will attack the macrophages. Later, after attacking into the macrophages, what it will do, it will transform into viral DNA. RNA will become DNA through enzyme that is called as reverse transcriptase. Through enzyme reverse transcriptase, viral RNA will enter the macrophages and it will move into the viral DNA, and it will transform into DNA through reverse transcriptase. What is the use of this viral DNA? So this viral DNA will attack the host genome. That is our DNA which is present. It will go and attack our DNA. So basically again this viral DNA which will attack the own DNA, again it will transform into RNA. This RNA, when it is attacking the host genome, it will again move into RNA, viral RNA, and it will produce numerous cells. Numerous infected cells will be produced. It will give rise to numerous infected cells after entering into the host DNA. This viral DNA will enter into the host DNA. This host DNA again will move or transform into RNA. This RNA will give rise to numerous infected cells. So these infected cells will attack other infected cells, and like that replication will take place. After replication takes place, usually these will again go and attack the T lymphocytes. When they attack the T lymphocytes, all the T lymphocytes will get reduced in number. Numerous T lymphocytes are present in our body. All will get reduced in number, and finally in years, like I told you, incubation period is 5 to 10 years. This 5 to 10 years, this full process will take place. After 5 to 10 years, numerous lymphocytes are broken down and we are susceptible to numerous bacterial diseases, because I already told you T lymphocytes only play an important role in helping to fight against the foreign particles. If T lymphocytes are only attacked and there is no good cooperation for them, so all the T lymphocytes will get reduced in number and it will attack the numerous cells which are present in our body, and all the diseases the person will acquire, like bacterial, viral, fungal, all diseases he will attack, and finally it leads to death of the patient. So this is the mechanism of the AIDS usually. First, it will enter as viral RNA. Don't get confused. RNA will become DNA in the macrophages by the enzyme reverse transcriptase. This DNA will enter into the host DNA. For host also already DNA is present, right? So it will enter the host DNA. Again it will produce RNA by transcriptase enzyme. Again it will produce RNA. Why RNA is produced? To give rise to numerous cells, numerous infected cells, to give rise to numerous infected cells, this RNA is produced. So one virus will attack the other cells, again other cells, like that it will go on attacking and cause infection. And finally it will attack the major immune mechanism of the body, that is nothing but T lymphocytes. Then T lymphocytes will get reduced in number, first macrophages, then T lymphocytes. Then finally it leads to numerous diseases, and finally the patient will die. So this is, today we have discussed about the what is AIDS, HIV, which year, what are the modes of transmission, then what are the different tests you perform, how is the prevention, and finally we have seen about the what is the mechanism that is associated. So today this is the about AIDS. In the next session we will see about the cancer and what are the drugs which cause. So what are the drugs which are associated with that of see, cocaine and all, numerous people take, right? What are the effects which cause the for the drug abusers and all, what are the effects which we see and all, we will discuss in the next class. But be thorough with this concept. Numerous NEET questions are asked based on this.